Well, Paul, it always promised to be a difficult night for your team, given the quality of the opposition. Birmingham flying high at the top of League One. What are your thoughts when you reflect on the last 90 minutes?
A tough game, as you said, with the quality that they have, and we know that they some excellent footballers, irrespective of whether that's they got players away and players injured, and that's not their really full strength team. But I don't think there was particularly anyone out there that they wouldn't class as a first team player initially. Certainly brought a couple of younger lads on, perhaps that maybe are on the fringes now with the quality that they have. Just frustrated with certainly two of the goals, where again we contribute massively. And what I would say is, and I think this is where you see the difference, I feel like we've had loads of good opportunities and situations tonight. I haven't seen the goal back myself, but the staff that I've seen it are saying it should have counted. Ultimately it didn't. That just seems to be the way it's going at the minute. But like the way they took their third, the quality to punish. And like I said, I think we get some great situations and don't end up on the score sheet. The one with, was it John who was going in on the goal line, you're just waiting for it to somehow go in, somehow doesn't. So there was, part of it is a lesson with that. I was pleased, like genuinely, in terms of second half. I don't think that the players, that could have been a real even longer half than it was. And they kept trying and kept running. Like I said, just frustrated to concede that fourth goal, because again we contributed, but I can't honestly say that the players didn't sort of try or anything like that. We just got punished for a couple of mistakes and a couple of good bits of play.
Do you take something from that in terms of you did have some promising moments going forward against such a good side? Yes,
in terms of us, some minutes for some players. There was the sort of subs at half time were sort of pre-planned anyway, so there's no injuries there or anything like that. So from that point of view, pleased. And yes, we did get in some good situations, but then it's got to take advantage of them. Ultimately, it's no point keep getting into good areas or players in situations, and there's not that end product that counts. So that's something, like I said, we've got to try and improve on, whether that's the individual players, whether it's us as a team. But we know that, that game tonight isn't certainly going to define the season. And we've, the thing is, we've got them to play twice in the league. So we'll use it. Again, it'd be different person, I'm sure, perhaps on both teams, but got to look at some of the things that they've done, which we did anyway going into the game. We just didn't quite get it right at times in that first half.
If I've got my calculations correct, that ends your chances of qualification in this particular competition. Is that a disappointment with a game to go?
It is, because I've always been a big advocate of the competition. Said that before, and obviously last time we were here we got to the final. Always tried to get through. What I would say is I think the competition's getting a bit silly in regards to, we're told to speak well about it, then it's an EFL competition that get invites for Premier League. We were forced to play a game when we didn't want to play a game, which was ridiculous on my side and made for a ridiculous start to the season. Then we've got games going on when, and you can argue that it helped us if they wanted to play them or rest them, but numerous players away on international duty. But when it's a Premier League team, they complain about that and then don't play the game. So that's frustrating for me, because it's a competition that we know is difficult to grab the fans' attention at the best of times until the latter stages. And now, for me, that's just creeping through in terms of for clubs. And, in my view, not done correctly.
First time we've spoken to you, Paul, since after the game at Bolton on Saturday. Is there any update on Jordan Shipley, who went off injured in the second half and wasn't involved in the squad tonight?
He's in a boot. I'm sure a few people will have seen him. So, by that in itself, it's not good news at the minute. But I haven't generally got a time scale, and I think it's perhaps a little too early to really nail that down in truth. But certainly at the minute, if he takes that boot off, he's sore. Hopefully that will subside pretty quickly. But I think as soon as he went off on Saturday, you could tell, after being accused of kind of faking an injury, pretty obvious that it wasn't in my eyes. But yeah, was going to be struggling for tonight, and Saturday was the definites. And after that, it's obviously a Thursday game, relatively, a little bit quicker on the horizon as well. So we'll have to see and just keep his fingers crossed.
So what's he done exactly?
It's his Achilles, but I think he's getting a bit of pain through his heel and then up through the Achilles. I think initially they thought it was the ankle, but then Skitty had said I think he's overstretched that. So again, I'm no expert on that. I can remember doing something that sounds similar at least in a game, and I got through the game, but afterwards, it kept me out, not for too long, but I don't know if it's the same thing.
And now all eyes start to turn very quickly to Crawley, but at this early stage of the season, it looks an important game, a significant game perhaps, this weekend, given where you both are in the table. Yeah,
look, nothing will be decided, but and that's not me downplaying it. Of course it's a big game, as you said, because of where both clubs are. I've said it, I keep saying it, and I think people, whether they choose to really accept it, but the tables kind of took shape to a degree in a lot of ways already. It's no surprise. We can all pretend and make different narratives up if we want, or we can just be brutally honest. And from that point of view, yeah, it's quite a few of the teams that are down there are what's expected. So we want to try and get points when we come up against those teams. That's only natural. It doesn't matter in some ways where you get your points, but when you're coming up against teams that you think could be in that sort of same area as yourselves, then of course you want to make sure that you take something. They've got some good footballers. Drew with Stockport there not so long ago. But we've got to go there with some confidence on the back of last Saturday. And some of the performances that we've put on, albeit not got the points perhaps that I think we could have from certainly the last run of games. That's not talking about tonight, talking about the league.
Thanks for your time, Paul.
Cheers, Stuart.